Okay, welcome everybody to our current fireside. We're going to look at simplifying social media with Sarah Costin. But just to get going, getting started, I'm Erin Brosterhouse. I am the managing member and founder of Bluefire Collective. And just a reminder of what these firesides are, they're really intended for small business. We're trying to bring tips and tricks from all of our collective specialists, and we generally try to put on one a month, but we're not going to do one in August because we're taking a little vacation, just like we should, every once in a while, just to reboot. And we're going to have our next session is going to be, we think, on September 9th, so that should be the second Thursday of the month, and we're going to do a photography roundtable where we're going to have multiple professional photographers on hand to look at the many aspects of photography and the ever important realm of photography in marketing. And so we're going to have, it's just going to be a discussion and a kind of a, like I said, a roundtable. So where they'll all bring their different expertise and discussions around subject matter and how to engage your subjects, for particularly humans, right, that kind of get awkward in front of the camera, different angles and set design, and what can you do yourself, what do you need to hire a professional photographer for. So that is just a little insight to the next one, but that won't be till September. And let's see, no other significant news. Hopefully everybody's on our email list, because we're often sending out tidbits about what Bluefire is up to, what the collective's up to, what their clients kind of wins are, or new client shares. And so make sure you're on our email list. And then otherwise, I think we should just sort of kick it off here. We've got Sarah Costin here today. She's a transformative coach and author. The exciting thing that she's going to have to tell you more about, but I'm going to tell you first, is that she is releasing a new book tomorrow. So she's all pumped up. And so anyway, we're really excited. We're going to do something real different today. We're talking about simplifying social media, but this is going to be a presentation and discussion unlike one you've probably seen before around this topic. So take it away, Sarah.
Ooh, the mystery looms. Thanks, Erin. Yeah, what Erin is pointing to is kind of that what you will not get from this workshop is, how to gain 1 million followers. So I'm sorry if that's why you signed up for this workshop, but I don't actually know how to do that. So that's not what I'm going to talk about. And we're going to be looking at social media in terms of our mindsets and how we're thinking about social media, because that's what I bring to the table as a transformative coach. That's what I work with business owners and creatives and other coaches and writers to help see how they're thinking about a thing. Because simplicity comes from clarity, right? If we want to see something simple, first we have to look and really see, well, how are we holding social media? How are we thinking about it? And just kind of taking a look and seeing like what's in our space around it. That's a very important first step to even just noticing, oh, I had no idea I had so much fear around social media, or I had no idea I was thinking about it this way. Like that is how we begin to dissolve that kind of thinking and start to see it more clearly. And once we see something more clearly, then the next step is obvious. Then it becomes really just fun to post, and it feels obvious what to post when we come from a place of more clarity.
So I want to jump in before we kind of open up our slides and presentation here. Sarah's prepared this really cool presentation. We could always share it with you too after the fact, but I wanted to do this because I personally sort of It sounds funny. I struggle in this space. I find it really easy to see strategy for my clients and do their social media. I'm like, it's third party. You're seeing it from that third party view, and you can see what their core messaging is, what buckets of content they need to be in, what they need to share, what's resonating back to their brand ethos, and like I said, core messaging. And that's what we do. We do a ton of that for people. We have just social media clients, right? And I think we do a pretty good job for them. When you have your own business and you want to share your stuff, there is an interesting challenge I've found with like, well, do I have time to even do this? What is super relevant? What do people want to hear from me? How do I grow this? Am I significant? Am I feeling relevant? Oh, I don't know if I'm feeling super relevant right now, or worthy to tell you this or that about my company. Where do I stop and where does the company begin? That's an interesting intersection for me. There's a lot of layers to this, and it's given me, I feel like I kind of struggle with it. And so that's my vulnerable little statement. And so I wanted to explore this and bring it out to maybe other small businesses or individuals that might be struggling with it also. Okay. So with that, what I think I'm going to do, Sarah, if you're good with it, I am going to share my screen, correct? I'm going to share this desktop over here, sharing. And then I'm going to, you guys, can you see my screen here?
Yes.
Yes? Good.
We can.
I love it. Okay. So I'm going to play from start, I guess.
Could you make this? Oh, there you go.
What do we think? Is this looking correct?
I think it looks good.
Okay. So you can just tell me what to do. When you tell me when to move it around, because I'll make
a little ding, ding,
ding. Okay.
Okay. Well, first of all, Erin, thanks for sharing vulnerably. That is actually a beautiful way to kick us off, because if you want to move to the next slide, we actually are all going to start kind of looking vulnerably, but you don't have to share with the group, but we're going to have a little writing exercise. And what I want you to do is write down, and you might have to go grab a piece of paper, or you could do it on your laptop or whatever you're using. Write down all of the things that you think about social media, especially when it comes to posting for your business and even posting for yourself, and maybe even that blurry line that Erin was talking about, like what's me, what's my business. It's I struggle with that as well, being a business owner and a person and a human being. You know, what is relevant, what's not. That's some of the thoughts that come in my head for sure. So I want you to write all the good and all the bad, and don't hold back. You know, just it's a chance to just to see what's in our space. How are we holding social media? And we did come up with a couple examples, like, I think social media is evil. I've heard people say that, you know. I love funny memes about Bert and Ernie. It makes me feel like I'm trying to sell something. I like seeing my friends' posts. These are just kind of examples of thoughts that you might have around social media. So just take a minute or two and jot them down if you would.
All right, we just had someone enter, and we are jotting down, or at least mentally, kind of taking inventory of what social media, what comes to mind when it comes to social media, specifically for your business. But like, is it good? Is it bad? Is it stressful? What do you like? What do you don't like? What's hard? What's easy? It could be anything. And here's some examples. So that's kind of where we are right now. We just got started.
We'll just take about 30 more seconds, since we did just have a new person come in.
Yeah, and it can be general. And I feel like social media is getting such a, it's kind of undoing parts of society. I mean, if we feel like, especially if you have own kids, if you've had kids, it's an interesting time we're living in, this digital era. And so I think, there's good and bad going on in society, and so I think that some of us might be struggling with that, let alone just like what it means for our businesses and getting the word out.
Yeah, there's a lot of thinking around social media. And really that's kind of what I wanted to look at, is just to even see how much thinking we have around it helps to begin to simplify it.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and so I can share, I didn't just write them down, but I know for sure I had a belief around social media that I just wasn't good at it. Like I carried that around for a while, and it would be like I would post something and then I'd feel really good about my post, and then my post would get like 5 likes, and then I would beat myself up over, like I would over analyze, like after the fact, like what am I doing wrong? I must be really bad at social media. And I realized I was carrying a whole lot of pressure. and it was helpful for me to really see, I'm coming at this with a lot of pressure. I'm coming at this like I'm supposed to be an expert at it. I'm coming at this like I'm supposed to get a certain amount of likes. I'm coming at this holding all this extra thought. And it wasn't until I really just saw even that I was holding it that way at all that I began to be like, oh, well, what if I didn't focus on those thoughts so much? What if I didn't hold it that way? And that's when I began to see momentum build, because I wasn't creating the stress so much on myself. Does that make sense? Erin or anyone? 100%. Thanks, Chelsea.
1000%. All right, do you want me to move the slide forward?
Yes, please. Ding.
Okay. Bing.
Great. So I hope everybody kind of at least thought about or wrote down some things, how they're holding social media. So this is our 4-part framework that Erin and I came up with on a conversation. And the first part is social media as a tool. And then we're going to move into social media mindset. That means how, I use this phrase a lot, and I realize that it's a very coachy phrase and not everyone knows this phrase, how we're holding something. I use it all the time, and now and then someone's like, what are you talking about? When I say how we're holding something, it's like, so I'm holding this mug. If I'm thinking about the mug, if I'm like, this is a beautiful mug, I'm holding this mug in a beautiful way with my thoughts. I'm holding it like in admiration. If I'm saying this is a crappy, horrible, worthless mug, then I'm holding this mug in my thoughts in a negative way. It's like how you're holding something in your mind, positively, negatively, or some other descriptor. Yeah. Okay. And then the third part is, after we get through how we're holding something, is finding your voice. Because I really think once we see something simply, our authentic voice just starts to cut through naturally. We don't even have to strive or effort at it. It just, when we don't have a whole mess of thinking about something, we just are ourselves. So that's really helpful. And then the fourth piece is something that Erin and I both feel really strongly about in terms of social media, is that consistency really is key. And we'll get more into that. So ding.
Bing.
Part 1, social media is a tool. So 4, I brought a hammer. Oh, I brought a prop. Are you impressed?
I actually am. It's cute too.
Thanks. It's a cute little hammer. I keep it in my office.
You never know when you need that in your office.
Right? Hanging my pretty art behind me.
Oh, I like it.
That's why I have it. So let's see, maybe ding, so we can see. Ding. I forget. Hello. What's the,
thank you.
Yeah, ding. Okay, maybe ding back for a second.
Okay, I can go both ways.
By the way, I really appreciate you being my slide person.
Okay, good. I think I can do it.
So maybe Erin, could you share with me one of the things that you thought about or wrote down in the exercise that we just did, like how what's one way you think about social media?
I need to do, I'll try not to like too long, too many words, but I actually find, and I'm thinking about social media for business. Okay. So personally, I'm actually not like a really big social media person. I don't know if that's like my demographic, like, but it's just not a huge place where I'm like doing huge shares. I wouldn't call myself a private person. It's just that it's just not been a huge thing for me. And then I even was like completely off of it for 3 years. Okay. But in starting Bluefire, I was very aware, and having owned a different business, I was like, this is an important piece of it's a communication tool, and I have to put out my message, and I have to say what's going on. It's a really important it's important to my business particularly. And I'm not even saying I'm doing it well right now. I'm working on it. It's like a little bit of a work in progress. So I think that's sort of how I hold it. I wouldn't say it's like super negative, but I definitely it isn't a passion project for me. So I have struggles with authenticity and coming across as authentic and purposeful, and I want it to be valuable to both me and the reader. So
that's awesome. Can I pause you right there?
Pause.
Because that was perfect. Thank you for sharing. What I heard from that share is that a few things. So I heard you say, I'm not a social media person. I heard you say, social media is an important tool for business. I heard you say, I struggle being authentic on social media, or something around authenticity.
I worry about
how you
come across perceptions.
I worry about perceptions on social media. And I'm picking on you, Erin, because I know that you'll take this in a lighthearted way that it's meant to be.
Oh, sure.
So we're going to substitute the word social media with the word hammer.
Yeah, fun.
So we're going to say, I'm not a hammer person.
It sounds ridiculous. Yeah. Okay.
The second one, this might want to work. The hammer is an important tool for business.
It is in a lot of cases.
Yeah, it is. I worry about being authentic while using my hammer. So yeah, isn't that fun? Yeah. We could go on. And I don't know, I know a lot of people have their videos up, but if anybody wants to play along, oh good, Chelsea, would you be willing to come on and say one or two things you think social media is, and then we'll replace it with the word hammer?
Okay. I think social media can be frustrating.
A hammer can be frustrating.
I think it can lead to opportunity.
A hammer can lead to opportunity.
I think it's stressful.
A hammer is stressful.
Oh my God.
That's great. Thank you.
That's really
and good. Yeah. So what are you seeing around that? Like, why am I saying that? And why did we just do that?
I have an idea. I don't want to say. Does someone else want to jump in? You don't have to be shy. I hope everyone's kind of feeling mellow.
Yeah. I really like interactive conversations, but it's fine either way.
There's no pressure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can ding to the next slide because I have it written down, I believe. Social media is merely a tool for communication. And it's a lot like a hammer. We would never say, this hammer is really stressing me out. Yet we blame social media for a lot of our feelings. And it is a communication tool, just like business cards, websites, billboards, phone calls, or even networking events. Mm-hmm. And it's a tool. And anytime it feels more than a tool, that's just telling you that you're holding it in a certain way. And so on the slide, it's like, what is this tool effective for telling people? Well, it's a very effective tool for telling people that you exist, right? For telling people that you have a business in the first place. It's effective for telling people about a problem that you help to solve through your service or your product. It's really good at like communicating the feel of your brand, because it can give you pictures and colors, and you can include your mission and your values. Social media is a great tool for having people be able to contact you. It's also a great tool for being in relationship with them, like giving, taking, commenting, receiving, listening, and building trust and credibility through those relationships. Is there anything else people see is what social media is good for that I missed here?
I think it's good. Okay. Oops, was I supposed to ding?
Sure.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions around that? I mean, is that pretty explanatory? Is anyone having major insights?
If you do, and you don't share, then the onus is on you. Like, you know that. So I'm just gonna say, the universe knows that.
True.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on to the next slide, which is kind of my favorite part. So social media mindset. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm partnering with Erin, because Erin's the expert in branding and marketing and lots of other things, websites, social media included. But my zone of genius is really working with people around their mindset. And I work from using an understanding of how the mind works. And it has lots of names. My favorite name for it is the inside out understanding. And basically, without going into the entire understanding, because we only have a short time and we're talking about social media, basically, there's a mindset secret. And this is a huge secret that that I would like to share with you. And the mindset secret is that our feelings are not telling us about the object directly. Our feelings are always telling us our thinking about the object. Hence, what we just did about the hammer or social media. This hammer is neutral. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not evil. It's not, it's the opposite of evil. I don't know. Angelic. It's neutral, right? It's neutral. But if I start to have feelings for this hammer or against the hammer, if I start to say this hammer is really stressing me out, I hate this hammer, I can't stop thinking about this hammer, then we know that that's not coming from the hammer. It's coming from us. And our feelings help to identify our thoughts. And so this is what I work with people with in my coaching practice, is that I don't call any feelings negative feelings, because from where I'm standing, a feeling is always helping us. It's always in service to us, because a feeling is always telling us how we're thinking about something. Because our feelings are coming from the inside out, hence the inside out understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And so another example, to not use the hammer so much, just in case we need another example, is my book that I'm coming up. It's being released tomorrow. And this is like heavy on my mind right now because it's happening imminently. Now, my book is the exact same book. It's 176 pages. It has the exact same amount of words, like 35,000 words. It's the exact same cover. And what I noticed this week, my thinking about my book, oh my goodness. Monday, I was so excited about my book. This is going to be amazing. I can't wait to get this book out there. Tuesday, oh my God, I don't want to publish. No, I'm pulling it. We're going to pull the book. I'm not going to do it. I don't know. I don't know what everybody's going to say. I don't want to put myself out there. Just Wednesday, I'm okay. This will be good. This will be good. The book's good. It's great. Thursday, that's today. I'm just getting stuff done for the book, just checking things off. Now, my book didn't change. My book's exactly the same. But but my feelings have changed about it all week. And my feelings just tell me, they don't tell me if my book is good or bad, right? Sometimes we interpret that. Like if I'm worried about my book, all of a sudden it can feel like, oh God, my book is terrible. But I'll wait for a more settled mind and I'll read the book and I'll be like, oh, my book isn't terrible. I just got really caught up in worried thinking about my book, which made it appear that my book was terrible.
Super interesting.
Yeah. Do you want to share anything you're seeing, Erin?
Oh, yeah, I could share. I don't care. I had a lot of launching a new business. If anyone who's ever just put yourself out there, that's pretty intense, and there's a ton of doubt, and then you kind of move through the process and you do it, and you can let those feelings go. So I think the thoughts of self-doubt they ramp up when you expose yourself. If you stick your neck out, it's possible to get feedback or that you don't want, or you just never know. Anyway, a lot of it's more in yourself. And then even these firesides sometimes, or not sometimes, but the first one I ever did was like, I had so much like, oh my God, I'm doing these things. And now I have a different feeling about them. I'm like, this is cool. We're just sharing information, like this is awesome. Who wants to show up? Who can? It's great. And I love it because I think we're putting out new and different ideas. And so it's a lot about how I think about.
Exactly. So as you got more experience, yes, as you got more experience with the fireside sessions, that help you to settle your thinking around it.
Yeah.
Because then you could kind of center and ground yourself in the fact that you've already done these before.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's always that, and just going for it and staying consistent and that kind of. There's all the same principles.
Yeah, and so it's really helpful to know that our feelings are connected to our thoughts, and that underneath is actually we're okay. Like underneath is underneath the thought, because we're not just our thoughts, we're something that holds the thoughts. There's a space in us that is always okay, that is always resilient, that is always creative, no matter what we're thinking, how we're holding social media, or how we're holding a book, like writing a book, for instance, or how you're holding building a business. And we connect more deeply with that innate, intuitive, wise side of us from a clearer mind. And so when bringing this back to social media is finding that place inside of you, no matter what you're thinking about social media, whether it sounds stressful or it sounds tiresome or what it is, just to be aware that those little feelings of stress or fatigue or agitation or whatever it is, it's just telling you that you're in some thinking around it. And whenever we're in some thinking, the best strategy I know is to actually just to stop going in that direction, is just to pause and slow down. And when we come from that space, it becomes obvious what to post. It becomes obvious what to share with people. It becomes just like common sense in moving forward. So I think maybe ding for the next slide. Oh, good. It's a good segue into part 3, finding your voice. Before I move on to part 3, is there any questions from anyone out there in Zoom land?
Nope.
All right, we'll just keep on going. Does that feel clear to you, Erin, what I've explained so far?
Yeah, totally.
Great. So ding.
We're getting good now.
I know, you're just intuiting, you're rolling. We're going to do another writing exercise, or at least a mental exercise if you don't have something to write with. So we're going to kind of go into this quality of mind. And everybody every human has felt your quality of mind, your clarity of mind at some point in your life. You might associate your clarity of mind with an activity. For a long time, I thought my clarity of mind only came when I did yoga or meditated, you know, or it might come when you are exercising or gardening or cooking, whatever it is for you. But it's that space inside of you where you're still thinking, because we can't ever get rid of thought, but you're just holding all of your thoughts really lightly. They're just kind of moving in and moving out. You're not gripping on any one thought. And it feels nice. Like it's a nice space to be in. And it feels relaxed. That space is more than just a good feeling. That space actually has intelligence. That's where intuition comes from. That's where great ideas come from. That's why we always get good ideas in the shower. You know, like I tend to always get good ideas when I'm walking the dog, because I'm just not thinking about any one thing. And I'm like, oh, I got to write that down. It's just that space of kind of flow and ease and relaxation. And so if it's possible, I don't know if anybody feels in that space right now, but do whatever it occurs to you to do to kind of find that space more deeply right now. Whether it's just taking a big breath, sitting up, stretching, whatever it is, whatever it occurs to you to do, is to get really present. And from that settled place, I want you to write down 3 to 5 things that your brand or business is about, what you're posting on social media about. And there's some examples up here, like, wow, my brand is really about creating an awesome product. We are really, really conscious about helping the planet. We want to build community, and we love to have fun. So I'll give you a little time just to jot those things down or mentally think of those things. Erin, did you come up with something?
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to share?
Yeah. We Bluefire focuses on providing great, well, we call it damn good marketing services and expertise in integrated marketing. We believe in building community or engaging with our community and being a community for ourselves, and supporting a lot of people trying to do their work, their expertise. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then we can't help it, but we believe we believe in the outdoor lifestyle. Like it's just true of who we are and where we've been.
And so how does that influence your social media posting for you?
For me, that these things help me to understand, at least I have a really good idea of what kind of content Bluefire needs to post. Does that make sense? Because I know how to create, I know what the core messaging is about. It's community, it's our clients, it's the collective itself, it's the outdoors, and then all the services we provide and some of the wins, you know, like it's easy to know what to post. Sometimes actually posting it can be challenging. There's like a bandwidth thing that I am working on. But still coming off authentically. Growing my community is important to me, and you know, figuring out methods to do so can be stressful, I guess, too.
Great, thank you for sharing. And did that feel like it's coming from a place of clarity of mind?
Yeah, that was really easy.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Like
I've also thought about it, so it's like.
And I can hear it in your voice. It sounds grounded in truth.
I feel grounded, and I see what what the path is. It's just a matter of getting it out there and
Right.
consistent,
Mhm.
or frequent. For frequency, it might be the challenge.
Yeah. But that becomes your home base. That feeling of groundedness and centeredness becomes your home base to navigate to. So that those times where it does feel challenging, or it does feel stressful, or it feels overwhelming, that gives us chance to pause and come back to our mission, to our vision, to ourselves, to center. And then from that place, create from there. Adam, I'm gonna pick on you because your video is on, and I appreciate you for having your video on. I was gonna.
It was on.
What's that?
I didn't know it was on, but okay. I thought I was hiding.
You're not hiding. I'm just curious. Would you mind sharing anything about this exercise, or that you're seeing or hearing? Is anything coming up for you?
You know, I've been on the product side of it quite a bit, and I've thought about it as a brand, and I'd say a couple things that I've thought about in terms of finding your voice is, I always look at it from the viewer or your customer side, and who are you trying to sell to? And I'm very sales driven, as Aaron would probably agree with, but what are they looking for? And I really like to provide things that the customer's looking for, and not be overbearing. Try to be very kind of passive. And obviously, I haven't thought about it quite as much recently, but try to like passively sell. Like, I don't like to be actively sold to. And I was just, when you were talking, looking at some of the brands I follow online, and specifically on Instagram, and they don't put their product in your face. It's very more lifestyle oriented.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing and being put on the spot. I appreciate that. And I really love what you're saying, is kind of that when you post or are thinking about posting, it's like you connect with the audience. And in some ways, maybe that's how you ground to your center, is like thinking about how the audience might hear or receive what you have to say. And yeah, and I also tend to love brands that are like just subtle, this subtle invitation into a brand instead of in your face. But that all comes from this kind of grounded, connected place. And so our feelings can help us. So if you ever feel not those things, then you just know maybe you've gone off the path a little bit. And you can always come back to your values, that you want to be subtle, that you want to connect, that you want to be community focused, that you want to be audience driven. And so those are really cool things. Thank you for sharing. Was there anything else you wanted to add to that, Erin, about finding your voice?
Yeah, little tips for that, I think, is really to go through that kind of brand discovery process with yourself, or if you need support in that, like, reach out to a company like ours that can help you do that, so that you can find that core messaging, so that you can think about your buckets. Like, what are your buckets? Like, where does this content come from? And that can guide you in what you're actually putting out there, from a content perspective. And then how you disseminate content, that's a strategic move. Is it on LinkedIn? Does this go on LinkedIn? Does this go on Facebook? Is it Pinterest? Is it where? Is it press release? Like, all those things can be decided, but you still have to know who you are at the core of this. This is why I thought this was like a really interesting sesh, just because nobody's looking at social media. No one's really talking about it like this. But the truth is, if you do, and you get grounded in that, the anxiety or the stress or the confusion around it can be either gone or lessened.
Yeah. And I think when we,
Interested in.
yeah, I love that. And when we don't have as much stress around something, it just becomes easy and it becomes fun. And that's when our, our Instagram followers go up, our Facebook usage goes up, because you're coming from a place. People feel your energy, right? People feel that. And for me personally, I'll just share a bit about finding my voice is really, I do navigate by my feel. Like if I'm excited about a topic, because I often write about mindset and how we're holding things and how we think about things. And on my dog walks, I'll get an idea. I'll be like, oh, I never thought about. So I have these, I'm going to tangent just for a second on the story because it just popped in. I have these earbuds that are, you press them and they have a hear through option. Do you know what this is? So you know how earbuds, when you put earbuds in, you can only hear the music and then you can't hear
Are
anything.
these AirPods?
They're Jabra
But
something.
it's either I know what you mean, like they block out the sound or that you
Yes.
can hear sound. Yeah,
Yes.
same thing.
Yes. So the other day I was on a dog walk and I had the blockers on where I couldn't hear anything. And then I pressed the little button and it goes hear through. And then I could hear, my podcast and all of the noises around me. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. That's a blog post. Like, because I write mostly about thought. I'm like, what if we held thought in a way that was more like hear through? Because sometimes we get in a train of thought and we're like, we only hear our worry. We have the blockers on. But if we had a little button that said hear through, we could still feel the worry, but then we could also feel the creativity and the ideas. And it's like, we want to hold things more lightly. We want that flowing state, just like the hear through on the earpods. And so I had this idea on a dog walk and I was like, yes. And I was like, so stoked about it. And I wrote it down. And like, that to me is like, I'm definitely going to post about it. Like, I know that that's going to go on my social media feed. I just haven't had time to write it. But it's like that feeling for me of I'm lit up by it. I'm excited. I feel like that could be a cool angle to look at things. It could be helpful for my audience. For me, that's my home base, because one of the things that I want come from my settled place are helping others see thought in a new way.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And I think one other little tip, we're sort of, my idea is to like share little tips, but like, can you jot down your idea? Like if you have an idea, like that would be cool to share on social media, and like you have to get the idea first. And then you're like, oh, this is definitely shareable, but like, we don't always have time to like, boom, execute it. Like there's a lot going on, but can you just jot it down, or can you have a notepad on your phone?
Yep.
Or wherever you want to put it, and you say, and you build an arsenal of content shares. Okay, that sounds like really marketing-y, but like I mean it. Like, can you just put it in a parking lot? I call it a parking lot. Mm-hmm. And you could have a dock that's a parking lot. You could have something on your phone, and you could just have a notepad, but just parking lot it. And it means like when the time is right, I can come here, or when I know I need to post for some consistency or some frequency. Oh, wait, I haven't shared that yet. And that's timely and pertinent. Oh, this one actually is more important to do now because of XYZ strategically. Mm-hmm. And then you don't lose anything, and you aren't curious about what to do when the time is now to do something.
Right. And then you, like you said, you have an arsenal or a bucket of ideas.
Bucket.
Yeah. I've taken some courses where they like have a whole Excel spreadsheet of like hundreds of just weird ideas that they've come up with. And then when they need a post, they just check it. I personally have them in many different places. A lot are on my phone. I just jot some down on my like personal calendar.
But just get it down so it's not lost.
Right. And then when I go to post, I'm like, oh yeah, there was that hear through idea or whatever. And it still has juice. I feel like the juice stays with it too until I actually write it. a lot
Yeah.
of times. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, great. Ding.
Ding. Okay, so part 4, we staying consistent is what we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, and Aaron and I both agree with this. Big time. So,
Did I do something weird?
oh, just go back one.
Whoa.
Doesn't like to stay there.
It's
So
gotta
responding and staying consistent. So as you begin to post and share more, it's normal to have insecure or negative feelings to arise. And then you just remember that those feelings of doubt or worry, they're not telling you about your posts. They're just telling you about your thinking about your posts. And that's so huge. You can let the negative feelings alert you to give your thinking a pause. And you take a break and you recenter. And then from that centered place, from that clarity of mind, then you can post. And consistency, why I love consistency, it might be different than why Aaron loves consistency. I love consistency because it tends to take the pressure off of posting.
Mm-hmm.
I personally went through this experience where just recently where I just felt like every post had to be perfect and I had to say just the right thing and I had to get my message just right. And because of that, I wasn't posting because I was really putting a lot of pressure on myself. So what I did was for the whole month of June, I used that feeling of pressure. I was like, oh, something's got to change. So for the month of June, I gave myself a 30-day posting challenge and I posted every single day for the month of June. And it was great. It just took the pressure off. It just, the release valve turned on and the pressure came off because I no longer felt that every post had to be perfect. And I just knew I had to post something. And most times it would be like right before bed, I'd be like, oh crap, I didn't post today. And then I'd come up with something. And it was amazing that even like at that spur of the moment where I wasn't even thinking about it, like I'd come up with something. And I saw a lot through that 30-day challenge. And one of the things kind of goes back to what you were saying, Aaron, about being you or being your business.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I really saw during that 30-day challenge was it's both. That I went into the 30-day challenge thinking I'm going to post about my business every day. And I bet you I posted about strictly my business, probably 10 of those days. And then the other 20 were more personal. But instead of beating myself up over that, what I saw was people like personal. And for
Really?
me as a coach, they want to hire someone who drinks beer. They want to hire someone they can relate to. They want to hire someone that is a human being who has a personal life and a business life. And it might be slightly different for different.
Yeah, that's what I was just curious about. Like, so if you're a personal coach or you're a nutritionist or there's a lot of different, you're a photographer, you potentially are your business. I mean, like you are your business, but I don't think Bluefire is Aaron at all. I mean, I actually don't want it to be. Whether it is or it isn't. Do you kind of know?
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be about the collective, and so do you kind of see the struggle for that particularly different, right? A little bit.
I do, but I wonder if there's a different way to hold it.
Yeah, but I just don't know if like everyone wants to hear about what I did on the weekend with Bluefire or whatever. I'm just.
But maybe they do.
I don't know. That's the question.
Everyone can tell Erin if they want to hear what she did on the weekend on the Bluefire Instagram feed.
Yeah.
But I think that's also in the game of sometimes you just don't know. So you try stuff out and see what lands and see what doesn't. Like there's a lot of playfulness in the posting of social media, I believe.
Experimentation.
Experimentation, yes.
And which is what you do with digital advertising.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you do with PR pitches to media. I mean, like you're just like, I'm going to throw this out there. I'm going to see what works. Oh, that really worked. What worked about that? So marketing has a lot of experimentation in it.
Yes.
So social media should too.
I totally agree. And I think that actually for me comes back to this being grounded in who you are. when you're really grounded in who you are and really know that you're okay no matter what someone thinks about you in social media, you're more freed up to experiment, because you know your self-worth isn't dependent on how many likes you have. You know your self-worth, like
Yeah.
this grounded clarity of mind piece actually plays into being free to experiment. And when you're free to experiment, you actually see for yourself what's going to work for you.
Mhm. Cool. So that might be perfect, really. We probably want to see if anyone has any questions or like peculiar, any shares or just like, you know, deeper questions, I guess, around it. But I definitely think that grounding in business is just as important as like an individual needing to be grounded and to be showing up in their communities.
I love that.
And this is maybe never been done, something like this. I kind of wonder. I wonder if this is like a new thing.
We just created something new. Look at that.
Or just like not often, I guess, discussed.
Yeah, I hope it was helpful for people. I don't know if we still have people that are live with us, but it sure has helped me.
Dinner.
Getting to the mindset of social media has helped me tremendously in social media. Like, I can't tell you how, and so I hope people maybe are getting a glimmer at that.
Can you share, without feeling like you're being put on the spot, if you feel like it is converting sales? Because
Well,
that's a big word that we use in marketing, digital marketing. So conversion. Are you getting more referrals, or do you feel?
yeah. During my 30-day post that I just did in June, I did get more people reaching out to me just for conversations. And I feel like that's conversion.
That is conversion. It's that they feel compelled to reach out.
Right. And they feel like they know me now, right? They know me a little better. And so they reached out, and I feel like it's really helped with my book that's coming out tomorrow. I just feel a very big swell of support. And yes, I do. I think just showing up as me has been really great for business.
That's so awesome. I think that's so awesome and so great to hear for you. And what's the name of your book?
You Are the Blue Sky.
You Are the Blue Sky. Yes. 35,000 words.
Yeah, it's a quick read. Each chapter is only 2 pages. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's so cool. Well, Sarah, I really thought this was a cool conversation, and I want everyone to know that it's going to be recorded. So if there's people who couldn't show up and they want to hear about it, there's going to be an opportunity. It'll be on the website soon. I have sort of a plan to have all recordings from all the firesides live on the fireside landing page. So that's just a little bit needs to be developed, but otherwise it's going to be there. Again, we're going to have the next fireside, I think on September 9th. It may get, pushed to the next Thursday, but September 9th. And that's going to be a photography roundtable, hopefully with a few collective photographers. And it's going to be really interesting and informative, hopefully, for folks who want to look at their photographic content. Anyway, thanks again, Sarah.
Thank you.
Awesome. And thanks to everyone who showed up and kind of put themselves here to think about this stuff. Cool. I'm gonna. What am I doing? I'm going to stop recording, or I'm going to stop sharing. Right? That's what I'm going to do first.
Yeah, and stop recording probably too.
Stop share. And there we go.